still my beautiful people. Did you guys miss me? Because I missed y'all. Okay? Let's just make that clear. But when the body talks to you, I'm going to just let you know, yeah, it's time to sit down. And that's literally what happened to me. But I know y'all probably wondering why I got these shades on, so I'm going to get to that in a minute. But welcome back to the Tatted Beauty Podcast. You already know it's 6 p.m. on a Thursday. And it's your favorite Tatted Beauty on the line, Alasia, a.k.a. Lay. And before I get into what this episode is about, I know y'all see that it's not as bright as it used to be. Hence is why I got on these shades, because I got to tell y'all what's so shady, okay? We're going to start Isn't It Shady a little early in the episode now. Isn't it shady that right before I started recording, everything on this side just went out, like my sign, the ring light, and I'm just like, are you serious right now? Like, this cannot be happening right now. It really can't. But then I thought to myself, I still have the essential things that I need, like my mic and a way to record and stuff like that. So even though my ring light doesn't work, I actually have another ring light that I actually had. We just made it work. And I say that to say, even if you don't have all the tools at that exact moment, as long as you have the essentials, you get the job done. Because that man upstairs said, you're going to get this out. Because you already missed a week, so you're going to get it out. But that was real shady. We got to get another fuse, I believe, or something like that. But lo and behold, we are here, baby. Again, welcome back to the Tatted Beauty Podcast. I am your host, Alasia. And this episode, we are going to get into, how can I put it? You can word it in a lot of different ways, but how important is sex in relationships? So sex in relationships is what we're getting into today, which is a spicy topic, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to this topic. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are asking, well, how does that tie into growth? We're going to get into that too, But going back, sex and relationships. Now, sex is definitely a love language. Most definitely a love language. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people take sex or deem sex as something that's very important in a relationship. Well, a lot of people, should I say. But I think I'm one of the few. And that's here nor there. But sex can get very tricky in relationships because sometimes people don't feel it. Sometimes people want it all the time. Sometimes it's just like a feeling that you lose. You know what I mean? So that's where the trauma comes in, because you can be in a relationship with somebody and the sex is great in the beginning. It can go on for years sometimes. And then sometimes the spark can just be lost in an instant, And that's why I asked, how important is sex in relationships? Because I've actually had that question asked. Well, I asked the question, should I say, on my Instagram page. Guys, I'm going to put the podcast's Instagram down below. But I actually posted on there. I said, how important is it in relationships? And one of my followers actually responded, and she said, it's very important, but I do also take time to learn my partner during and after any sexual encounter, just so I can learn what they like, what they don't like, you know what I mean? And I can honestly agree with that. Wholeheartedly, I can agree with that, because I'm that type of person as well. I like to understand a person sexually, even though, like I said, I'm not really I'm sexual when I need to be. And I think that's where that's a toxic trait of mine, because, or not really a toxic trait, but to other people it may seem like a toxic trait, because I can be attracted to you sexually. I can want to do something with you, but I necessarily don't feel it in the moment. And people ask, like, well, how does that work? I don't know. It just does. Okay. I don't know. I don't. It just works like that. Okay. I'm gonna switch gears real quick, because I'm feeling real black today. Real black today. And I'm pretty sure y'all where I'm going with this. the Montgomery Brawl, baby. Y'all did what needed to be done. Okay? I don't condone in violence at all. I don't condone in bullying at all, in no way, shape, or form. I teach my niece and my nephews that. I teach the kids that live around, my area that when I actually do see them, doing some bullyish things. But I just didn't respect how it even played out from the beginning. I've seen a lot of videos, and like I said, I just feel real black today, and I just feel like I just need to sit in it, you know what I mean? Because my people showed out. They showed out, like, from the beginning to the end. Like, the unity was just on another level. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of other African Americans feel empowered by that. Blacks feel empowered by that. I'm pretty sure the people where it happened at, Alabama was one of the biggest slave trades where they ran through. It was just a very historical moment in a very historical place at a time where we need this. We need this unity right now because we have been so divided as a people, that just really set the tone for the next couple of years. I'm praying because that chair, everybody keep talking about this chair, and I'm just like, bro, listen, if somebody touches my child, I'm pretty sure I would have the same reaction or maybe worse. So listen, I'm innocent. We ain't even seen no chair. So we just gonna get back to the subject at hand, okay? So sex in relationships. Now, I have spoken to a lot of people, like I've had friends, you know what I mean? And they talk about their sexual encounters, but then they have other sexual partners. So that's why I ask how important is sex in relationships, because if you're getting everything that you need in this relationship sexually, or maybe you're not, because how are you or why are you venturing off in another situation? Is it the pleasure of getting something new all the time? You get what I'm saying? So I really genuinely want to know how important is sex in relationships. And that goes for everyone. Cheaters, people who don't cheat, you know what I mean? People who are faithful and loyal in those relationships, and your partner is venturing off and you feel it, because that transfer energy is real. Like, I'm here to tell you that transfer energy is real. Your partner know when you're venturing off, when you're doing something else, especially women, because the pH balance starts to get off, their energy starts to shift. They just notice that woman's intuition is something crazy, something that you can't get around, regardless of how hard you try. It's just not gonna work, like, at all. But again, I don't understand that, and that's where the question comes in. How important is it? Because you have people out here that are just, the word that they like to use is promiscuous, or a whore, basically is the term we like to use. And it's just like, does that tie into then having a sexual addiction? We digging deep into this, because it's like so many people out here are willing to share their energy with so many different people and give it to so many different people. And it's just like, how can you actually then get in a relationship or want someone else to satisfy your needs when they'll never be met? And I'm speaking on cheaters. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I say, for cheaters, is sex even important? Clearly it is, because if you're venturing off, you clearly want to find something else. So we're just going to leave that where it is. I don't even need an answer on that. But to the people who are in these faithful relationships, in marriages, in these committal relationships, how do you deem sex? Because I was in a few relationships, and I can say that in most of them, I was aroused. I'm not gonna say I wasn't aroused. I wasn't gonna say that I was turned on. I was attracted to everybody that I was with, but certain relationships, I can honestly say, the sex really didn't matter. But I loved them. You get what I'm saying? So it was just like a thing where I was kind of hinting that it was not good, but I didn't say it like in a mean manner. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, sex is not a big thing for me anyway, so I can literally go without it. I used to be in relationships where my last relationship, she used to say all the time, like, are you cheating? Like, do you have an emotional connection to somebody? Are you out here doing this, doing that because you ain't doing it for me? You're not doing it to me. And it's just like, honestly speaking, uh, I'm gonna answer that. Sex is important to me in relationships, but it all depends on how I feel. And I know that I'm not the only woman that feels that way, because I've actually spoken to a few women that have said their sex drive depends on their emotional state at the moment. Because how can you hurt me, make me cry, or abuse me in any sense and then want me to make love to and that is a real thing. And I feel like that's what creates a lot of trauma bonds between people in relationships, because instead of fixing the behavior or working on what you need to work on, you're just kind of like sweeping it under the rug. And I feel like that's what sex does, when you just ignore whatever argument or whatever you feel like is petty in the moment to satisfy your own needs, because that's what you need. And that's cool. You get what I'm saying? That's okay if that's how you love. But you have to respect boundaries with your partner if they are not there. You know what I mean? I'm not saying deal with it all the time, because clearly sometimes that's how cheating happens. Oh, you don't want to put out? Well, I'm going to go to somebody that does. But for people who don't do it as much, and the partner is just making an excuse to go out and just do something because they feel like they have a reason to, I feel like that is very damaging. It's very traumatic. I know I'm not the only woman or the only person speaking from that point of view, because there are men who get cheated on too. There are men who are with women who have a high sex drives. I've talked to women, and I've seen stories about women that need it 4 or 5 times a day. And I'm just like, girl, I'm okay with like 1 or 2, you know what I mean? A little quickie or something like that, I'm cool with all of that, but I'm not a person that needs it all the time. Yes, I can be attracted to my partner. I love physical touch, so I don't have to always have that sexual connection with you to connect with you. I like to connect with people on a deeper level. And maybe that's why I'm single now too, because people don't want to hear that, or people don't want to, I don't know. People don't want to heal, I guess, because I trigger a lot of people. I feel energy's different now, and I don't want to be out here sharing that intimate energy with just anybody. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm speaking to anybody that's in relationships, just be mindful of the energy that you're receiving from your partner, the energy that you're giving to them. If they do require a lot of attention sexually, have those conversations. Some people may think it's crazy that I'm even saying have those conversations, but it's real, because certain people get in relationships and don't understand their person's sex drive until they start noticing that they are a cheater, that they do like to consume all of these different energies. And sometimes maybe it's not even for sex. Sometimes it's just for attention. Sometimes it could be for financial gain. You know what I mean? So different people do it for different reasons. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like in relationships, again, it shouldn't be the main thing. It really shouldn't. And I've seen people who have created like bad situations out of a good situation because the sex wasn't necessarily enough, or it wasn't up to their standards. And I say teach them. That's all I say. If you're not willing to teach somebody, you know what I'm saying? So like, what's the point? I'm pretty sure somebody taught you. Everybody taught us a little something. So we can't just all be out here like, oh, well, I did this. Nah, we all got taught something by somebody somewhere, somehow, along the way. You know what I'm saying? We just recycle it and we try to do it different in different relationships, And like I said, don't make it's so important that you wound up losing out on a really good person because you chose just to look at the sexual aspect instead of everything all the way around. You know what I mean? And that's why I say that causes trauma. I have, like I said, for me personally, I have been in a relationship where this girl wanted it like all the time, and it got a little weird for me because she started to want me to do it to her too, and that's not me. I'm not a top, none of that. I am the femme. I don't want to be the stud, the stem, um, femograss. I don't want to be none of that, any of that. So, yeah, it got a little crazy because it was like, damn, like I don't really want to. I don't really feel it. And even though, like I said, I was attracted to her when she was kissing on me, it's like sometimes I really just don't feel it. I really just don't feel it. And she wound up cheating, like real bad, with a dude and everything. Y'all, I was pissed, highly pissed. And that was when I was like 19, 20. So I'm mad, but I'm not really too mad because it was like I was in like my bag at that point, really, really in my bag. Like, so I just wasn't even concerned. It hurt me, yes, because of course I'm laying down with you. I'm trying to please you sexually, and I'm trying to do these things, and you're not even having a conversation with me because at the time I didn't know that she had like I guess you could say an addiction, a sexual addiction. I didn't know that she had that such high sex drive. Because I was so young and because I had never really experienced that before. That was like literally my first time. And she just explained it to me. But it was like, I'm still not taking your excuse. I'm still not taking your excuse for the reason why you cheated. Because like I said, teach me. If your partner doesn't take, sex as important as you, sit them down and have a conversation. People feel like sitting your partner down and having conversations is doing too much. And I feel like if it's worth it to you, then you'll sit down and you'll have those conversations with your partner. Like, wholeheartedly. There's certain times where I've sat down with people and I necessarily didn't want to have the conversation because I felt like it was stupid or it was meaningless, should I say. But when I actually sat down and had the conversation with the person, it actually made sense and they actually communicated with me. And it wasn't stupid because then I got responses like, well, I'm glad you asked me that, or, well, nobody's ever asked me that, and I never had to think of it that way. So then they start to open up to you, and you start to learn your partner more. You start to learn what they like, what they don't like, the times when they're not feeling it. You know what I mean? That's how you really, really, really get to learn your partner. Seriously. And that's before marriage, and I feel like a lot of people get into marriage and don't know their partner sexually, and that's where, a lot of divorces set in because, again, cheating is a terrible thing. I can say that I had a high sex drive within one of my relationships because I don't know, like I said, it's for me, I guess it just arouses if I'm with different people, different energies. And that's why I think I've been very different all my life because I felt that. And that was just a way of me protecting my energy and my peace and not giving it to the wrong people. And I'm very appreciative of that gift. So if you have that gift, don't let nobody tell you you're a waste. Don't let nobody tell you you too stuck up, you too bougie, you this, you that. Stay that way, baby. Because not all the people say they could have it. They had this. And I'm happy to say that. For real. Because there's people out here that are washed up, ran through, but that's not my business. That is definitely not my business. But I just want to say, if I am speaking to anyone, as I always say, just have those conversations. It really, really matters. And even if you need to stop having sex because that, oh God, I know somebody was like, stop having sex. Yeah. Just stop altogether. You know what I mean? If you need to figure out if it's that important to you, or if it was just that person, if you had a toxic a connection with this person that was just harbored through sex, because sometimes that could be it too. A lot of people feel like it's an emotional connection sometimes, and sometimes it's really not, because when the sex is not there, you're not aroused, meaning they don't arouse you mentally. They bother you. Everything they do annoys you. You know what I mean? But when you're laying in bed together, everything is just everything. That's not okay. So if you're out here doing that just to please, or just to get a nut, I'm here to tell you that that type of energy, transfer energy, can be damaging later on down the line. Don't listen. You don't gotta believe me. You don't have to count the days, hold your breath, or whatever you want to call it. You don't have to. But I'm telling you, sooner or later, all of it is going to really come to a head, and you're going to figure out, like, this is not really what I wanted. This is what I really wanted. This is what really is important to me with sex. You know what I mean? Things that don't deal with sex. Because a lot of things I can say, and I'm not, like I keep saying, I'm not really big on sex. So I don't, some people like threesomes. I've never had a threesome. Y'all may call me corny or whatever. I mean, I've been close to. I've been close. I've been close to having one. But something shady happened with that, y'all. For real. Because I was really with it at first, but yeah, it just got real crazy in the situation. But for those people who like to have threesomes, you know what I mean? Is that an important aspect for people in a relationship? Because I've seen relationships online, videos and stuff like that, and I'm just like, bruh, how can you be in this type of relationship? But that's what works for certain people. You know what I mean? So I just say that to say, find your people. It's okay. It's really okay if you're not willing to have those conversations, because I feel like that's what happens too. Like, people are like, I'm not about to explain myself. I'm not about to do this. I'm not about to do that. I'm just about to go. Pew. And that's okay if that's what you want to do, or if this person doesn't mean anything to you. But if this person means something to you, and you're just going to double back or try to come back, or think the sex is going to bind them to you for the next time when you want to come back, I'm here to tell you that's narcissistic as hell. Okay, number one. It's mad manipulative. It's cold-hearted, and it's draining. It's stressful to the other party involved. And it can really cause trauma, because depending on how many times this person has gone through that, and you knowing that, because a lot of the times, we get comfortable with people, and we tell them about our sexual desires and what we want to do and how we want to do it and how we see fit and stuff like that, and they won't satisfy it at all, but want you to do everything that they want you to do to them sexually, and you're not being pleased. Well, maybe a little bit, because sex is supposed to be enjoyable. So I'm not going to say you're not enjoying it at all, but you're not fully fulfilling your needs in the situation, or in the relationship, And I don't feel like enough people take the time out, because sometimes people have sex on the first night. I don't think I've ever had sex on the first night. I don't think so. No, I don't think I've ever had sex on the first day. I've never had a one night stand. And again, I have nothing against anybody who does. Live your best life, baby, because some of my friends, I have been with them when they have done certain things like this. Live your best life, baby. Live your best life. But that's just never been me. It's never gonna be me. And again, I have been big on transfer energy. So it's like, I'm not about to just waste my time, because it's be a hit or miss with people too. Like, and I'm not about to sit up here and waste my goods on trying to find the right person to hit the spot. We ain't doing that. Because one thing I'm gonna tell you, if you know what you're doing, I'm not talking about the person, the other party. I'm talking about you. If you know what you're doing, the sex is gonna be enjoyable, regardless. I'm just saying. I know I'm talking to somebody when I say that, and it's real. It's really real. I'm sort of God. But uh, to the people who do see sex as being important, like, how often do you want it? Like, how often is enough? You know what I mean? Like, cause for me, okay, let me break it down. Right? It's getting a little hot in here. But for me, I can say, well, now I've been single for a year, so I haven't even really been uh, sexually active at all this last year and some change. But when I was the last time I was sexually active, I was in a relationship. Um, I didn't. It was important because I knew it was important to her, because I knew she had a high sex drive. But again, and in a lot of my relationships, not a lot, but maybe like I say like two or three, they made it a big deal about sex, you know. And then when they didn't get it, they made it a big deal too. You know what I mean? I was just like, I don't feel like it sometimes, and I'm laughing because Shorty straight hit me with the, so who else you fucking? Ma'am, why does it have to be that far? Like, why do we have to go there? You know, why does it have to go that far into me saying that I just don't feel like it? You know, a woman is allowed, and men, they're allowed to say, I don't want it right now, without you thinking some craziness. Okay? Because that's how unnecessary drama in relationships start too, with you just assuming they're doing this because they're not being sexually active with you. Sometimes people tired. Sometimes people really are just freaking tired. Like, especially if you work a job. I know for me, I worked in fields that are very physical, very, you know, they're male fields, I should say, to be perfectly honest with you. But it was a lot of physical labor. So a lot of the times when I came home or when I was in relationships, like, I would just want to come home and take a shower and go to sleep. So for anyone I'm speaking to that deals with that kind of lifestyle, how do you take sex in relationships at that point? You know, when you are working two jobs, or you may be working 16-hour shifts, and you come home, do you, or does your partner feel like it's okay for you to come in and not please them? Because in all actuality, what they're going to say, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Yeah, cool. But is your partner really okay? Really, really okay with the life that you're actually living? Because sometimes, because we're going to switch gears on that, because sometimes people get comfortable in those situations because they're comfortable with your bringing to the table, but they're still off getting something else. You know what I mean? So for the people who do go out and work and stuff like that, the people who are faithful, because we're going to talk about the faithful ones. I'm sick of talking about cheaters. We're not going to talk about them no more. We're talking about the ones who are faithful, the ones who come home and, you know, from these long days or whatever the case may be. How do you deem sex then? You know, is it just sometimes? Do you still want it when you get home? Is it when you feel like it? Is that okay to do that? Would you want that in your relationship? Because I've also dealt with that too. You know, my daughter's father, a long time ago, he had two jobs, and he used to come in like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Or I used to date this girl who used to have a job like that as well, you know, or she had to be up and be to work by like 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And sometimes she used to want it before she left. You know what I mean? Or when she got back. You know what I mean? It was just like, sometimes depending on what I'm doing in my day, I used to be like, damn, like, all right, okay, but I miss you though. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But I miss you though. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, it was just like it'd be a hit or miss for me. So for people who are in relationships, you know, again, the question goes out, how important is it? Is it important? Is it not that important? Would you bring another partner to the show? That's where I want to go with it. Would you bring another partner to the show? Okay? Because that can go, that's very tricky for me. Because I've had friends who have had threesomes, you know, and they told me the stories. And it's like, sometimes they're able to have the threesomes and go their separate ways. Just one and done. You get what I'm saying? It's just something that they, oh, and y'all already know what that noise means. It's time for Isn't It Shady? So let's get right into it, okay? Bring out the shades on them. Oh, yes, ma'am. So, isn't it shady that going back to that threesome I told y'all I almost had. Now, it was the dude's fault, okay, why this didn't go down, all right? And this is a story I never told nobody, all right? We literally just kept it between us, but this one, back in the day where I used to go to locked doors and stuff like that, long story short, it was this stripper. She was bad, and she wanted me, I wanted her. It was just that kind of situation. And one of my boys was like, yo, Lay, you trying to, because she want to, and I'm just like, I ain't never did nothing like this before, my boy, but all right, let's do it. So now I go in the next room. I'm getting her ready, prepared, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so everything is going good. Do you know when we went in the room to go get him, he fell asleep. He fell asleep. The one time I said to myself, all right, I'm going to just, you know, fuck it. This was about 2012. I want to say maybe 11 or something like that. I don't know, 12, 13, something like that. And I'm just like living my best life, you know? And I just said, I want to live on the edge. Isn't it shady that... But it wasn't meant to happen. It was not meant to happen. I swear to God it wasn't. Because I found out later that old girl was not real right at all. Like, she was... just wasn't clean. She was a very sweetheart. She was a sweetheart, though. Very much so. And bad as hell. Yeah. But, yeah, so the whole threesome thing, after that failed attempt, you know, and this was a boy, one of my boys that I trust. Love you. I love you to death. Love you to death, but you played me on that. And I still be like, when I do see him, sometimes I'll bring it up to him. But the whole threesome thing, you know, I've seen certain people, like I said, be able to just move on from it, one and done. But then I've seen certain people who get connected to these people. And they start venturing off having sex without their partner, with this third party. So my thing is how important does that become? Like the threesomes I'm talking about. How important does that become until it becomes a problem? You know, because there have been instances where the girlfriend knows about them venturing off with this other person or whatever the case may be, and it's no problem in the beginning. It's no problem in the beginning. So you made that a choice in the beginning for you and your partner. This was important to you guys. This was something that you both agreed on. But then later on down the line, you get mad because he's doing it by himself. And I get it. It's the principle about it, because we talked about this and we are supposed to be in cahoots with it together. We are supposed to be a team on this. But after a while, you gotta realize you're kind of coaching them or teaching them how to treat you or how to handle you, because they just feel like you're okay with it. And if you're not okay with it, then say you're not okay with it. Do you guys hear me? Hear me good. If you're not okay with something, don't settle and just be okay with it because you love this person. And sometimes, yes, you make sacrifices for the person that you love, and I'm not saying don't make those sacrifices, but if it's not fulfilling you and if it's diminishing you and if it's devaluing you, I say don't do it. I've done that to myself where it was just like I felt like a sex slave almost. And that wasn't even when I was dealing with women. That was when I was dealing with men. I felt like I was just a booty call, and it was just like, okay, what are we really doing here? You know what I mean? I didn't like that feeling. And that's when I started to understand and realize my body, what satisfied me, what I want, what I don't want. You know what I mean? I've never been a person who liked to be promiscuous and like to deal with this person, deal with that person. Now, let me not say I never flirted, because I flirt. You know what I'm saying? I was a big flirt. Not now. I'm good on that. But before, big flirt. So yeah, people have my number and stuff like that. But as far as getting anywhere near me or in me, shall we say, was not going down. You know what I mean? I'm a very cool person. I'm a very cordial person. I can chill with about anybody. Anybody. You know what I mean? But I draw the line at certain levels, and that's always been something that I've been very good at. So even if somebody had my number, or if I had all these different people numbers, you may call that a whore or whatever. I just call that being a flirt. Or a friendly person, shall we say. You know what I mean? So I've been flirtatious, but I've never been promiscuous and just having multiple freaking sex partners. I can't because sex is something that's very important for me. Like, not important in the sense of I need it all the time, but it's important in the sense where you gotta have respect for yourself and for me in this situation, because you are not the only one transferring energy here. And if my energy that I'm pouring onto you is pure, and you're bringing me all these demons and all these other energies from these other people harboring other energies, you know what I mean? It's going to awake the demons in me. It's going to awake the demons in your partner, basically. So to the people who are out here, just being reckless and having sex with all these people, if you do love your partner, protect your partner in that aspect, because like I said, that is important for me. That's really important for me. And my next relationship, she needs to understand that. I don't have time for you to get mad and then you want to go entertain somebody else, because that's a mental and emotional connection to someone. And I had to understand that as well, because I've done that. Like I said, people have my numbers. I'm just thinking, it's a whole friend thing, but in the back of their head, their intentions are something totally different. So now I'm getting weird text messages like, oh, come see me, come chill, making it seem like I'm entertaining what they're doing, but in all actuality, I'm just being friendly. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't want that in my next situation, So for anybody who is out here, who is single, who feels the way that I feel, stand stern on that, baby, because you're going to find somebody who is going to value everything that you stand for, everything that comes with you. You're not being difficult. You're not being argumentative. You are not, bougie, any of that. You just want what you want, and you know what you want. And I feel like that's what a lot of people lack, because a lot of people say, oh, I know what I want, until they get with somebody that resembles things that they don't want, or they start to trigger things that they didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that plays a lot into the question of how important is sex in relationships, knowing all of these things, or do you just go in and just be like, oh, all right, well, I don't even care about anything else. If the sex is good, I'm staying. Because I've seen that too, where it's like this person has nothing, You know, nothing to offer, shall we say. And I'm not speaking of material things. I'm talking about they're not even teaching you anything. They're literally enabling you in every sense of the word, you know, not allowing you to grow in any way, shape, or form. You know, but they're like, oh, the sex good. I don't know why, girl, but the sex is good. Like, what? Like, when I hear stuff like that, or when I used to hear, you know, people say stuff like that, I used to literally, I'm not gonna lie, I used to judge people like that would say that, because it's like, is that all you're using them for? Because one day somebody's gonna use you like that. And maybe in the moment people don't think like that, but we need to nowadays, because a lot of people are dealing with karma nowadays from doing all of these nasty things to people, such as having sex with multiple freaking people. People are getting STDs, you know, things that you can't even cure. You get what I'm saying? So it's just safe to say we really gotta dissect that question and really just be like, well, is it? You know, how important is it? Because yeah, it can be important, but how important is it? And how far are you willing to go to keep it, to nourish it? You understand what I'm saying? Because sex is a vital part in a relationship. Like, I gotta know that you gotta please me. Like, you know how to please me. That's just something we just gonna nip in the bud right there. Like, you gotta know how to do that. So I feel like that's a no-brainer, but I don't feel like you should base your whole relationship off of that. You know, there are certain women, there are certain individuals who don't like oral sex. You know, I've literally, man on man, I have literally talked to a few women who have said they don't necessarily go down on women, you know, and I look like, and these are studs. Like, nah, I don't do that. First of all, my first reaction is, girl, you're lying. Because who's staying with you and you're not doing that? You understand what I'm saying? Like, in the lesbian world, you get what I'm saying? Let's just be real honest here. You get what I'm saying? Nobody's doing that. So it's just like, for men and women, you get what I'm saying? How does that work for y'all? You get what I'm saying? Because I know sometimes I've heard that some men just like head sometimes. They don't really like to, you know, penetrate all the time. Head is just something that they like. They need it all the time. If you don't want to do that, then you gotta go. You get what I'm saying? Like, and you can find some women who enjoy to give head. So it's just a matter of finding your people, connecting with your people, you get what I'm saying, and making it work for you. You get what I'm saying? And I can honestly say I found somebody that almost, not almost, they did. They hit every box for me, you know, but it didn't work out, and wind up not working out, because like I said again, sex is not that important for me, because even though sex was good, it was like everything else was just like a no. You get what I'm saying? Like, not everything, but just certain things was just like a no for me, and I couldn't deal with it. You get what I'm saying? It's just disrespectful things, you know, cheating. You get what I'm saying? And I've dealt with that in every one of my relationships. I can honestly say that. I can honestly say that. Like, I'm talking about physically cheating. I've dealt with that, I believe, in every relationship that I've been in. And people would say that, oh, it's you. I could say it was my attitude. I could definitely say that, because you're not about to play with me. I have heard that, you know, most women think they're men in relationships. So that was another thing that played a role in it. But that is a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show. We're going to get into that too, masculine women, because I feel like there's a lot of masculine women nowadays and a lot of feminine men in the world, shall we say, nowadays. I can honestly say that. I'm soft dude era. Okay? Women is in their soft girl eras, and niggas are too. It's so crazy to say, but it's so true. It's so true, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only woman or male that feels that way. I know I'm not at all. But I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in every single week. Like I said, last week was just a little off for me. My body felt absolutely crazy, but it was for a good reason. Shouts out to Robbie. We actually performed at Open to All, OTA, in Brooklyn, New York, where we had the pleasure of Beyonce's Teen's Eyes being on us. So we actually performed for a couple of other artists. Shout out to Peaches and Bugs, Rob, that I actually had the pleasure of performing with. So again, my body was just crazy or whatever. I'm getting back into my dance bag. You know what I mean? Just one step at a time. One step at a time. Outside of the whole podcast thing. So again, I appreciate all of you guys for rocking out with me, rocking out and just being very supportive, and the feedback that I do receive. The people who do view every week. I am so appreciative of you guys, for real. Like, it's not easy doing things on your own. Not necessarily because you have to, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you just have to. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to. I know what I said. Yeah. Not because you have to, but sometimes you have to. You get what I'm saying? Because I could, and I will ask for the help when need be. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like, as human beings, we put ourselves out into the world before we're ready sometimes. And I have a lot to offer to the world, but I have to offer it to myself first. I have to be that light to myself first before I can be that light to anyone else. So that's literally what I'm working on. And I'm just appreciative of all of you guys, sticking it out with me every week. And again, I'm asking y'all that question. Remember that question: how important is sex in relationships? Because I really want to know. I really need to know. Like, I really need to know that. Okay, different strokes for different folks, but I really need to know. I hope I help somebody understand if sex is important in the relationship or not. If you're traumatizing yourself in that situation for the sex in the relationship, however you want to twist it. Okay, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much again for being here with me every week. This has been episode 14. You already know how important is love in relationships. How important is it? Ask yourself that. You heard? And if you don't know, rewind, because we got into a lot. But you already know. I always leave you guys with some words of encouragement. And if I have to say anything, it would be: protect yourself at all costs. Protect your mind, protect your heart, protect your body at all costs. It doesn't matter against who, what, when, why, how. Set your boundaries and stand on them. All right? Those are the words that I have for you today. And as always, we turn trauma into beauty, one fuck up at a time, here on the Tatted Beauty Podcast. I've been your host, your favorite Tatted Beauty, Alasia. See you guys next time.